Mr. Glendon, Morristown East High School Teacher of the Year, bearer of the mace for Morristown Hamlin East Hurricanes. Do I have permission to proceed with the commencement exercises?
Yes, sir, you have my permission.
Folks, be seated. Graduates, speakers.
Welcome and good afternoon. My name is Max the Cowboy McKinnon, and I serve this year as your Student Council Executive President. As seniors, we have looked to this day as the day that we may claim our freedom in more ways than one. Today we claim our freedom not only from school, but from the early mornings, the long essays, and those awkward hallway romances. But as we leave here, may we not free ourselves from the most vital lessons that we have learned. How to persevere even when you feel like there's nothing left to fight for. For 4 years, you have fought exhaustion, confusion, stress, trials, and hardships. And despite all that, you sit here on the brink of the rest of your life. Now you are ready to move on to the next big thing. Your presence here today proves you are driven, intelligent, and motivated to live your best life. As you leave here tonight, take those same qualities with you in whatever path life may lead you down. You are the next generation of a better world in your image. You are the future of our country. Be brave in your adventures. When you feel like there's no right direction, make one. Make a difference in those around you, and realize that the decisions you make in life come from the trials and errors of your life. So don't be afraid to make mistakes, to take risks, and above all, just be you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Paxton Lawson, and I'm speaking on behalf of the class of 2019. I would like to start by saying thank you to my parents and my sister for always loving and being my biggest cheerleaders. I'd also like to say thank you to the rest of my family, my friends, and everyone who supported me along the way. I would also like to thank a couple special teachers who have been my support system over the past 4 years and helped me through my college application process, specifically Mrs. Rachel Acuff, Mr. Aaron Bowen, Mr. Brian Bolin, Mr. Ryan Collins, Mr. Tony Woolley, and Mr. Chris Erie. I would also like to say thank you to Mr. Johnson for all the years of service that he has put forward towards Morristown East and making it what it is today. Now, I would like to turn my attention to the class of 2019. Through our time at East High, we've been around a lot, and I do mean a lot of books. Whether you wanted to or not, you've touched a book at some point during your tenure at East, whether it was the novels we read in English class, the heavy textbooks that weighed down our backpacks, or the ones that you chose to pick up and read. Since we were the last class that was not provided laptops for classroom use, we were also the last class to rely almost entirely on paper books. And our journey through East High is kind of like our own book. We've been characters in something larger over the last 4 years, and now as we turn our tassels, we can look back on our 4 books as a whole and read them. During our time as Hurricanes, we've all been through a lot together. When we look at our sports teams, we've changed around coaches on so many of our teams, won tournaments and titles, and we've sent a lot of athletes to compete at the highest level. Speaking of which, we have a softball game tomorrow. It's sub-state at Halls. Please go if you can. It's at 7. So our choir and band have also competed at the highest level, placing very highly at their respective state festivals. And our East Advanced Choir this year even scored the highest an East Choir has ever scored. Our speech and debate team has collectively earned enough trophies over the last years to wrap the classroom year after year. And we have seen a lot of success through all of our other clubs. Now, while all of these clubs have been great, we've been victorious in the classroom as well. Let's turn the page and look at our academics. Our 31 Plus Club has swelled as more and more students have reached the highest levels on the ACT. We have so many students sitting before me today who are wearing their honors and distinctions cords and sashes that they've all worked so hard to earn over the last 4 years. I've seen so much achievement through this whole class, and I'm so proud of every single one of you sitting before me today. Our large graduating class is a testament to the hard work and dedication of each and every one of you. So, class of 2019, as we close this chapter on our high school careers, and we move on into whatever our next journey may be, whether that be college, technical school, joining the workforce, a branch of the military, or anything in between, please remember to be the author of your own story. Don't let anyone else ever define who you are but you. Thank you guys for the last 4 years, and please remember, once a hurricane, always a hurricane. On to the next one, guys.
There is one circumstance everyone sitting here has in common. It's that we have all spent 4 years wandering the halls of East High School, and we are all sitting here ready to graduate. We all, as a collective, sit in these seats the same as the person beside us, whether we have honors, distinction, both, or neither. We're all the Morristown East class of 2019, and we all walk across this stage. Regardless, we must not simply look forward to crossing the stage in a few minutes, but also to creating our futures. After reviewing our time here, it is time to look where the future will take us. High school is just the beginning. The senior class sitting here today is full of the dreamers who have dreamt their destinies and worked towards their desired outcomes, the shakers who have shaken up the traditional procedures of life, and the blazers who have begun to blaze the trail of the new up-and-comers in the future. Now is the time to act on these titles. For our dreamers, now is the time for us to go out into the world and create our own destinies. We have dreamt of our futures and worked towards what we want to achieve, but now we must dream of how we must get there. We all make mistakes, but we must look past these in order to succeed and be the best versions of ourselves that's possible. Harriet Tubman once said, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and change the world. Our dreams must not stay dreams, but must be reached toward and worked for. Nothing is handed out to you in the real world, so we must persevere through the hardships that we face to achieve our goals that we dreamt for ourselves. Whether you go on to college, to a technical institute, or into the workforce, we are all dreamers in our own way. We all dream to become someone that our younger selves would be proud of. For our shakers, now is the time to shake up the world and break those standards set in place. We must learn how to appropriately bend the expectations and surprise the world. We have always set forth new ways of dealing with situations and new ways of prospering throughout our academic careers. We must learn how to prosper independently, and I believe that our classes learn this lesson to a great extent. We have learned through our years at East High that the only person you can depend on for success is yourself. As Carol Burnett once said, only I can change my life. No one can do it for me. We must adapt and learn to independently thrive off successes, learn from failures, and not let ourselves fall or stray away from our individual callings and triumphs. Us shakers must learn to develop our ideas in a fashion where we can achieve them. So no outlandish ideas, but dreams and aspirations far enough away to where we must achieve them. We will shake up the world as we know it, as we wander out into it. For our blazers, now is the time to go out into the world and create a new destiny for ourselves. To blaze a path for ourselves is the greatest challenge we've faced yet as growing adults. Blazers must be willing to make the sacrifice of what is comfortable in exchange for what we strive to gain out of life. Life is full of challenges, but with challenge comes growth. Benjamin Franklin stated that without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning. Without hardship, we don't know improvement. Without hard work, we don't know achievement. Without failure, we don't know success. Blazing a new path for ourselves means stepping away from what is comfortable. We might not be ready or prepared for the next stage in life, but being uncomfortable is a main process in the process of growth. To succeed and to grow, we must experience discomfort and failure. They are the inescapable parts of life. Our blazers must learn to deal with failure in order to continue to be the catalyst for their own success. By now, this senior class knows that we are a unique bunch. Although we have the dreamers, shakers, and blazers as our designated categories, we all fit in more than one section. Every one of us is a specific mixture of ambitions and aptitudes, and we must learn how to access our abilities to better the world and our own lives. The senior class, I believe, is a separate entity from the classes who have walked this stage before. We represent several personalities and personas. We must take these ideas of individuality and uniqueness into our next chapter and must persevere through whatever we need to in order to fulfill our own expectations. To the senior class of 2019, always remember the most famous quote from Ralph Emerson: "Life is a journey, not a destination. Live your life to the fullest and never look back." Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jake Gibson, your 2019 Senior Class President. I would like to say how honored I am to stand before you, my classmates, my friends, my family, and the esteemed faculty and administration. Oh, and you too, Mr. Johnson. No, seriously, Mr. Johnson, as Senior Class President, I would like to extend a sincere thank you for all of your love and dedication to the school for the past 28 years. And I think he deserves a big round of applause. In the weeks leading up to today, I started thinking about this speech and what I was going to say. I found myself struggling. I know some of you might find it hard to believe that I, Jake Gibson, was at a loss for words. However, when I look back through my school experience, I was reminded of my favorite class of the day. It's a class where some of us actually met for the first time. It's also the most important class of the day, and it's a class that I never missed, lunch. Now, I know back in elementary and middle school, we weren't given any choice of where to sit or who to sit with. And it wasn't until high school when we were turned loose to make our own decisions of where to sit. In high school, the lunch table situation was different. We had arrived. We were able to choose what table and choose who we sat with. For some of us, this was very uncomfortable, but for some of us, we relished in the freedom of choosing. We were finally handed our independence to choose something for ourselves. But you see, every now and then, there would be a new student that came into the lunchroom, and we had to make the decision to expand our table and make room for them. Once we learned to accept others at our lunch table, we will realize that we're all essentially identical in many ways. We all want to be included, and we all want to be accepted. I'll challenge us all as we continue the next chapter in our lives that we have the courage to accept others and expand our tables. Looking back, it's been amazing to think that after 4 years of working, studying, laughing, dancing, singing, and crying together, that we're down to the last few minutes of our high school careers. So I want to leave you guys with some heartfelt words. I wanted to tell you all that the last 4 years have been the best, and you all are amazing, and I love you. I love all 353 of you. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, Jake Gibson never spoke 2 words to me. I hope that's not the case, but even if it is, just remember that we are still connected through our memories of this day and the memories of this incredible school that we've called home for the past 4 years. While tomorrow brings a new journey, today marks the end of a chapter in our lives. No longer will we eat together in the cafeteria. No longer will we put on the orange and black together for our teammates. No longer will we walk together through the main hallway of East High School. The world is now our hallway. Hospitals, office buildings, and battlefields will now be our classrooms. And my hope is that when we meet later on in our lives, we will have amazing stories to tell one another. My hope is that we become fearless. My hope is that we live with no regrets. My hope is that we, the members of East High School class of 2019, becomes the people that makes room for others and never stops expanding their table. May the Lord bless you and keep you. We did it, class. We did it. Congratulations.